Hey, buddy. I just want you to know before I move forward that I forgive you and I understand. Really, I do. I know where you're coming from and I understand why you are the way you are and why you had to do the things that you had to do, at least as much as I can understand. Only God really understands at the end of the day. But regardless, I want you to know that I love you as well, and that all the things that have happened and all the things that you've done, just like the rest of us, I believe can be erased. If there is a person out there, there's an individual that encompasses who you are, I forgive that person, and I hope that you do turn to God. It talks about a lot in the Bible, how you'll be thrown into the pit, to a fiery furnace, and I believe that may be something that will happen, and that may have already happened, or is happening now, but no one knows exactly what the future will hold, and most likely everything will turn out a little bit differently than we may think, or maybe a little bit different than we understand, for God really only knows the plans that He set forth, and I am but a man, and I cannot understand them to the degree that the Lord does. I also want you to know that, just being honest, it was fun sometimes, and other times it was torturous, and other times still it was depressing and painful. But I would be lying if I said that it didn't have its moments where we were able to enjoy things, you and I. We certainly have had a relationship over the years. Here as much lately as any other time, if I'm being honest as well, that I've known you, and I've gotten to know you on a deeper level, as much as I've come to understand God. Something that I want you to know is that you defined the things that I wanted of the world, and you defined the things that I was in my body and in my mind. And I know that most people would see it all as negative, but I know that you served a purpose. But for me personally, it's time that I move on. I'm afraid that if I let it go on any further, and I let sentiment and nostalgia guide me, that I may be cast off a bit too far than, from what the Lord can take me. But that's impossible, but it's just a fear that I have sometimes, that I may go too far from the Lord and it may take me farther out than I may like, although I know I could always return. The days of my life where I spent wanting the material things and having desires of the world, physical, mental, material, emotional, oftentimes I turn to you rather than the Lord, and I'm not too big to admit that I turn to you in order to satisfy my needs. And you were there for me, in those times, although what came with it was not necessarily something that I had anticipated, and it's something that I have to let go of now. But I wanted to add that you're not as bad as people think you are, and you're not as terrible as some closed-minded people may make you out to be, for you are in the Lord's design at the end of the day, and everything is to the plan of the one true God, And because of this, I know that you played your part as well, and I thank you for that. I just need you to know that the times that are coming and the change that's about to take place in myself, I'm afraid there's not a place for you anymore, at least not with me personally. I have to let you go. I have to let go of the things that you have supplanted to me, and I have to let go of the aspects of myself that were governed by you, at least to an automation point where I'm no longer consciously involved, for my conscious effort must be made to the Lord and not to yourself. I've lied many times. I've sinned, as I believe all men have, except Jesus Christ, the one true Son of God. However, it does not make me inherently a bad person, just like it doesn't make you inherently a bad person if you were to be an individual. Who I'm speaking to now is the collective aspect of yourself. That is who I speak to now. The one who has spent millennia attempting to delay the inevitable. And you should know that the judgment that's coming is only for your own good, not meant to be something destructive in the sense of what we see as destructive, but it is meant to be a transformation. And I just don't want you to be my enemy, because I do not wish to inhabit the concept of having an enemy in the first place. I understand your grand order in the scheme of things and your purpose. And the things that are about to happen, and the things that I'm going to have to do in the spiritual sense, are going to be opposed to you in the things that you've done. I cannot apologize for this because it is my purpose as been set out to me by God, but I hope you understand. And I wish things were different. I wish that we could live in harmony, and maybe we can. But for now, my purpose is to drive you out of my spirit, so that I may be made whole with the Lord, and I may be cleansed and purified, that I may be made perfect in the eyes of the Lord. And I believe the only way to do this is to cleanse you from within myself. I know that you are still with me in many ways. A succubus on my spirit, most particular as of late, draining sexual force, but I'm afraid that must be let go as well. My relationships online, the pornography, the illicit relationships I have with people, the drugs, kratom, all these things that are of yourself. Time for these things to be put away, for they are childish, and I am coming into adulthood spiritually. However, if there is a way that you can be rehabilitated, and that you can be brought into the fold, and that things do not have to go the way that I believe that they must go in what is foretold in the Bible, I will be the first in line to assist. I will be the first to forgive and to allow there to be reconciliation between us two. But as it stands, as I do forgive you and accept you and understand, I cannot harbor you within me. So this will be my final time speaking to you, and what is going to come next might seem as an act of war, but hopefully with this explanation and this letter, you'll understand that it's just simply serving out my purpose and becoming who I was always meant to be. It is not meant as a conflict with you or a direct confrontation, for that is God's duty. But for I, it is simply meant as my next step of my journey. That is all it is meant to be. And so, I wanted to forgive you for myself and for you. And I hope that there can be change. For as I grow more powerful with the Lord, and I grow more seasoned and knowledgeable, I do not wish to turn that on any particular thing. I do not wish there to be a war, but a healing. The opposite of war, the opposite of conflict. And I hope whatever you are, whoever you are that haunts me, can understand that and will willingly leave. However, if not, there are things that which must be done. And so, what follows, I pray that it doesn't hurt you too much, and that you can come to accept it as I've come to accept it. Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior, Yahshua HaMashiach, the one true Lord, I pray to you that you relinquish my spirits, my demons from me. Only spirit that should inhabit me is you. The only spirit that should be within me is yourself, the one all-knowing God. I say to you now and pray to Jesus Christ that you evict Satan from my persona, that you evict these demons from me, evict Lilith and evict the succubuses. Allow them to be sent from me, and allow them to be sent out into the wilderness so that they may have their own journey and their own peace, but without me, for I cannot harbor them any longer. Set me free from these demons. Set me free from this presence. Set me free from this torture, and allow me to be only with you, my Lord. As of now, at this very present moment and onward, I decree that you are evicted from my soul, Lucifer, Satan, Lilith, succubus, demon, that you should no longer be harbored inside of myself, that you should no longer have a conscious or subconscious effect on my actions, decisions, will, or intent, and that you should no longer affect the things that I do, and that you should no longer affect the things that I say, and you should no longer affect the thoughts that I have or the future that holds for me, that you should not step in the way of the things that Christ has ordained. God bless.